Okay, so we find Davos here still in his cell with only Sir Alistair Florent for company, which I imagine is no fun, yeah? So how long has it been? A couple of weeks, huh? Anyway, Alistair hears steps and voices coming towards them, and he immediately assumes they're coming to set him free, right? Yeah, Alistair, mate. Not everything is about you, huh? Davos figures it must be the evening shift jailer, Lamprey, thus nicknamed by Davos because Lamprey Pie. In fact, actually, last time Lamprey brought them a half-eaten beef and bacon pie rather than lamprey pie. So you can tell that prison food around here isn't specifically cooked for prisoners. They just basically bring them leftovers, which I guess it's sort of nice, depending on how long those leftovers have been sitting there on the kitchen counter before they're converted into prisoners' food. But anyway, turns out Davos is right and Alistair is wrong. It is indeed Lamprey the jailer, and he's with Sir Axel Florent. Nasty piece of work, as I said repeatedly, as well as Alistair's brother. The latter immediately goes, "Boy, am I glad to see you. Ha ha, you've come to set me free, no doubt. Well done. About time to rectify that wrong, if you ask me. That's all right, I accept your apology." Okay, I'm slightly paraphrasing that dialogue here, but Axel cuts him short. "No one has come for you, traitor. Now stay back," he goes. While Lamprey is fumbling for the right key. Doesn't even call... This Axel doesn't even call his own brother by his proper name to make it easier to dehumanize him, I suppose. Traitor, that's what he called him. That's what Axel calls his own brother. So yeah, I told you, Alistair was wrong. They're not there for him. They're not there for him. They're there for Davos. But where are my manners? Oh, let me welcome you, dear listener, to A Storm of Swords, Davos 4. A chapter where Davos says things, important things, nor does he mince words. No, oh no. So yeah, one important detail is that Alistair, while still entertaining this thought that the king and queen and Melisandre had sent for him, to tell them in person how wrong they were to misjudge him, and can he ever find it in his heart to forgive them, etc., etc. He accidentally lets out let's slip this exclamation, "Oh, gods be good," which really around here at Dragonstone is akin to blasphemy, and it reveals how this whole Roholler Lord of Light religion is really just a phony pretense. He's easily forgotten in a moment's distraction, at least in the case of this Sir Alistair, and indeed, who knows how many other Queen's men, I come to think of it, Stannis as well. Do you know what? This whole roller thing reminds me of a sketch by Mitchell and Webb, Vectron. Don't know if you've ever seen it, where everybody, all these characters just keep yakking about this Vectron divinity they all supposedly worship, until they all have a frank discussion and it turns out no one really believes it. Wouldn't it be great if someone at Stannis' court at some point just came out and said that? Hey, who is this Roholler everybody keeps mentioning? Why, don't you know? Well, no. See, I was away on leave for like 3 weeks, and when I came back, it was all Roholler this, Roholler that. Okay, yeah, I'm butchering the sketch here, but yeah, if you get a chance, check it out. It's really funny. Besides, okay, there probably is a bunch of ultra-devout believers in Stannis' court, Selisa, for one. But you know what? My money isn't on Axel. Anyway, no one has come for you, traitor. This is Axel. So they pulled Davos out of the cell and shut the door behind him. And just to show that he did pick on that God's be good business detail, Axel orders Lamprey to take the torch from the wall to leave Alistair in the dark. Yeah. My guess is that he's thinking, is that the way of it? You renounce the Lord of Light? Very well. Enjoy the darkness. Look what happened to Sir... What's his name? Gunser Sunglass, who also renounced the light. As indeed my cat seems to agree. And really the name should have, tipped us out, because Sunglass... Alistair isn't happy at all. Yeah, but he still doesn't get it. He doesn't get the reason why this torch has been taken away. So he keeps begging, no, gods have mercy. To which Axel really loses it at this point. He goes, you stubborn old fool. There's only one God. Oh, and the other, but we don't mention that one. Have you learned nothing at orientation, you stupid old man? So, yeah, they do grab the torch and leave Alistair in the dark. All the while, Davos thinking they've come to take him to Melisandre, who will have him burned alive. So, he asks if that is indeed the deal. I'm telling you, 4 Davos chapters, dear listener, and in every single one of them we find Davos absolutely convinced he's about to kick the bucket. But no, yes, Melisandre will be there where they're taking him, but it's actually Stannis who wants to talk to him and not execute him. So they keep climbing and climbing, confirming Davos's first impression that his cell must have been deep underground, judging by the warm temperature. And all the while Davos keeps thinking, all right, the fingers on one of my hands might have been shortened. In fact, I've even lost the detached fingertips I used to wear around my neck for good luck. But that doesn't mean these hands aren't capable of strangling Melisandre at the first chance I get. He's really obsessed with this whacking melee business. So, they finally arrive outdoors, and Davos realizes it's night. He's had sensory deprivation, black cell, waiting in a cell underground. What do you expect? So some fresh air at last, and the only light out there is in a nearby yard. A bonfire. Queen's men are gathered around, singing, like a bunch of whiners, around a dumpster fire. They're chanting. They're chanting to the Lord of Light for a change. Oh, Lord of Light, do 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 do. As for Davos, he's been taken to the Drum Tower. Yeah, this ominous high place in Dragonstone. And as they approach, Axel tells Davos something interesting. He goes, "Tell you what, mate. Were it up to me, I would have you burned alongside that other traitor. Anyway, all right. When you get to speak to Stannis, you make sure you tell him that I, Axel, have to be appointed as new hand to the king. See, we've got this war plan all worked out. Me and Salah the Rosan, our mutual friend. And all it needs is Stannis' approval. And we're in business. Even the Queen agrees with this whole thing. So if you know what's good for you, you'll tell him that my appointment as new hand is the best idea since chocolate cake. Yeah? And when I take office, I'll make sure you get a shiny new ship." Wow, yeah? We learned so much from this simple exchange, right? It's our luggage now, so let's unpack it, mate. First of all, we learned that, yes, it is indeed the consensus that Sir Alistair burned alive. Yeah, it's not a matter of whether it's going to happen, but when. But more interestingly, that being burned at the stake or pyre or whatever is definitely not Davos's fate. I mean, if you, dear listener, have read this chapter until the end, you know that that's not the case. But it's all revealed here first. Because why would Axel rely on the word of Davos to persuade Stannis that Axel is hand material, so to speak, if Davos was indeed marked for execution as a traitor? I mean, not only that, but Axel goes as far as trying to bribe Davos. You don't offer a bribe to a guy you can simply threaten to set ablaze, if he doesn't do your bidding. I mean, that whole speech sounds like, hey, when you see Stannis, yeah, making sure you put in a good word for me, yeah? Come on, mate. I'll give you a ship if you make things go my way. I mean, it's Davos's word that has the power to tip the scale, huh? Not Selyse's, not even Melisandre's, we can presume, huh? Which, if you ask me, is why Melisandre is smart enough to never suggest to Stannis the idea of burning Davos alive. Yeah? No? What do you think? Anyway, just to lay out, just to kind of like paint an accurate picture of the sort of like power structure, or at least that's what Axel thinks. He's thinking, yeah, well, let's still establish a couple of things, though, okay? Mr. Davos, you might have the king's ear, but that doesn't make you immortal, Davos, because I've got both carrot and stick for you. So he goes, one more thing, in his best Peter Falk impression. Oh, one more thing. Remember, I am Castellan around here. So I'm in charge of a whole garrison of men who are perfectly capable of, shall we say, making it look like an accident. Catch my meaning? So yeah, that's it. So Davos, zero pressure, enters the room, which is the painted table room, top floor of the drum tower. Great location. So named after the gigantic table in the middle, shaped like the whole continent of Westeros, with all places of interest painted on it. Been there since the age of Aegon the Conqueror, came with the house, so to speak. But it really ties the room together, in the words of the dude, Lebowski. It's a great room, and what a great room it is, by the way, with a window facing... a window for each cardinal point, northern window, southern window. It's very well exposed, which I don't think was a great idea, actually. Must be quite tough to keep it warm. But yeah. And we are treated to a bit of garment porn. Not as much fun as food porn in these books, all those food descriptions in the Saga of Ice and Fire. But yeah, here it goes. Let me read you the quote. Stannis wore a grey wool tunic, a dark red mantle, and a plain black leather belt from which his sword and dagger hung. A red gold crown with flame-shaped points encircled his brows. But the important thing here is that Stannis appears to have aged at least 10 years, confirming what Melisandre told Davos in the last POV chapter, namely that making shadow babies isn't really all that healthy. It kind of robs you of your essence, mojo. Or what was that quote from General Ripper in Doctor Strangelove? Precious bodily fluids. Yeah, my bodily fluids. That's it. Because Stannis has a lot of that, those fluids, I guess. His beard is grey. He's lost a couple of stones, or 14 pounds, or indeed 12.5 kilos. Yeah, but no, Westeros isn't metric, to my knowledge. No, but his eyes were blue pits lost in deep hollows, and the shape of a skull could be seen beneath his face. So if the garment porn was there to remind us of Stannis's, simplicity, Spartan, practicality, none of his brother Renly's flashy fabrics or designers' clothes. Well, the physical description is to show us that he's looking more and more like a ghost, which is why, I guess, his PR machine has had him, still does have him locked in the Drum Tower. The cover-up story being that he won't see anybody, but it also works the other way. They don't want anybody to see him. The rumor will spread that it looks like he's got one foot in the grave, mate. And Davos, remember, our only POV we have that allows us to take a peek at Stannis, with one notable exception, being Catelyn 3 in A Clash of Kings. But Davos, he hasn't seen Stannis since Davos 2, Clash of Kings. That's like 63 chapters ago. That's how long we readers haven't seen him. So yeah. Still, when he sees Davos, Stannis does crack a faint smile, says how happy he is to see his night of fish and onions. Oh yeah, fish and thank you. I mean, everyone keeps referring to Davos as the onion night, right? Forgetting that really, it was the salt fish smuggled in by Davos that provided Stannis and his army sustenance, proteins. That's what counts. That's what kept them alive back in the days of the siege of Storm's End. Anyway, that gives Davos pause, because Stannis greets him as if it just arrived, like, casually from the Blackwater Bay. So he's thinking, wait, does he even know that I was on his cell, in one of his cells for like, I don't know how long, because we didn't have a watch, we didn't have a calendar down there. So yeah, we have it all confirmed. Stannis says that he needs good counsel, see, for a change. See? And then he hits him with a trick question. What is the penalty for treason? Just out of the blue. Davos is thinking, this is clearly a rhetorical question. I mean, that sort of stuff is like in chapter 1 of the manual titled So You Want to Be a King. Does he mean me, the traitor? Does he mean Sir Alistair? All right, here goes nothing. A death, Your Grace. Last I checked, the penalty for treason was death. Bravo, goes Stanislav. Yeah, that's what I'm going to call him now. Bravo, Onion Dude. No matter how hard the law may be, it's still the law, isn't it? Dura lex sed lex. Yeah. Look throughout history, yeah? Look at Daemon Blackfire, the Blackfire Rebellion. Look at the brothers Toyne, who rebelled against Aegon IV. Look at all those wannabe usurpers whom history calls the Vulture Kings. Look at Maester Hareth, who we don't know anything about. Or indeed, Rhaenyra Targaryen, if you've been watching, Fire and Blood, the House of the Dragon, season 1 and 2, is being very meta, Stannis at this point. Yeah, well, Your Grace, somehow Davos still feels like he has to defend Alistair, who is a bit of a shithead. Well, Your Grace, Sir Alistair didn't mean any treason. Yeah, what do I care what he meant? Treason is treason, mate, says Stannis. Again, this is not verbatim. Really, he's really pissed off at this point. Rather frustrated, shall we say. What is it about me, he goes, what is it about me that inspires treason instead of loyalty? I mean, seriously, for God's sake, my late brother Robert was the opposite. Even enemies he defeated would eventually come around and swear allegiance to him. Look at those Grandisons and Cafferens, those guys. Robert defeated them and imprisoned them in Storm's End. only to get wasted with them every night and throw axes in the courtyard with them. What? What an interesting pastime, huh? Hey, you want to throw axes? Yeah, sure, mate. Yeah, hold my beer. Sounds like the kind of brainless, the jackass kind of thing Ironborn would do, no? Anyway, the point Stannis is trying to make is that those guys who had initially set out to capture Robert and deliver him to King Aerys so he could burn him alive, as he was wont to do, ended up being his best buddies, yeah, and eventually died fighting for him. My, does Stannis have a chip on his shoulders, huh? On his shoulder. Axel. Oh, yeah, because he's still in the room. Huh? He wants to supervise the entire thing. Axel interjects here. He goes, Your Grace, we Florent are cool. There's just a few rotten apples, that's all. Let's resume our battle plan. I have it all planned out, see? Huh? And here I imagine him kind of like elbowing Davos, as in, go on, tell him. But no, it's actually Stannis who turns to Axel. Yeah, oh, really? Well, if your plan is so swell, why don't you brief Sir Davos on it, huh? Let's see what he thinks of it. At which point Axel, makes a face like he's just been offered a dog turd as a snack. Me explain my glorious blitz battle plan type thing to the lowborn onion knight who can't even read. But yeah, he bites the bullet and goes ahead to lay out the plan. He goes, all right. He goes, we sail to Claw Isle, yeah? Why? Because Lord Celtigar left it unattended ever since he betrayed us for King Joffrey, and he's currently a guest in the Red Keep. So now the castle is there for the taking. Up for grabs. The place is understaffed, so we figured easy plunder, which will restore our troops' morale, There's like, wait, because I can't remember the whole damn list of things, of goodies. There's Mirish carpets, Volantine glass, gold and silver plates, jeweled cups, magnificent hawks, an axe of Valyrian steel, a horn that could summon monsters from the deep, chests and rubies, and more wines than a man could drink in 100 years. Huh? How about that? We can finally pay Salador with part of the plunder, which is kind of the reason why he's on board. He's on board, no pun intended. And we can send the world a message, as in, see, this is what happens to those who turn their backs on us, huh? What do you think? Bit of genocide? That orphans and widows? So Stannis awaits an assessment of this plan. Yes, orphans and widows are the only inhabitants of Claw Isle at this point, we are given to understand. And Stannis is like, yeah, okay. So Davos, give us your opinion. Which he's all about plain speaking these days. So he goes, let me get it straight. So you propose to fight and kill a bunch of defenseless women, children, old men in an island where no Lannister currently resides? But they're traitors. Yeah, kind of like you, huh? On your night, huh? Yeah, replies Axel. You're kind of like winking at Stannis. You see what I mean? This guy, yeah. And, yeah. Okay. Dialogue paraphrased, as I said several times, but that's kind of like the gist. So but Davos has an answer to that. Listen, mate. Listen, do you know why there's only widows, children, and old men out there on Claw Isle? Because all men of fighting age died for us, yeah, before they were defeated. Axel goes, no, you see, no, you're talking out of your arse on your night, because a lot of them followed their liege lord in bending the knee. And they're all there in King's Landing, drinking fancy wine and laughing at us, as in, Stannis is such a moron, Yeah, that's what they're doing, I tell you.
But Davos wants to know. Okay, all right. Some of them did, some of them didn't. Some of them fought for us and died for us, and some of them didn't. So how exactly do you propose to tell apart those families of soldiers who supported Stannis from those who followed their liege lord? You know, when we are out there, you know, hacking them all to pieces. And besides, what are you gonna do? You know, they did what their liege lord ordered them to do. You know, what can you do? It's called discipline. You know. But this is where Stannis interjects. No. I was their king. Yeah? Let's not forget that. You see? A king beats a liege lord. I've got this chart here that explains it, if you don't believe me. And this is where it happens, dear listener. Davos just can't help himself. I told you he's all about plain speaking nowadays. So he just says it. Oh, really? Did you remain loyal to your King Aerys when your brother Robert rebelled against him? Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. And there's silence for a bit, to the point that a seamstress on the ground floor drops a pin on the floor, and all three of them hear it from up here in the drum tower. Okay, it's not 100% silent because Stannis is grinding his teeth. It's kind of like a sign that he's a bit nervous right now. And that same seamstress can probably hear him all the way down the ground floor. And she's going, "Oh, Stannis is at it again. Oh dear. In fact, that blue vein on Stannis' forehead seems to be about to pop right now. Axel goes apeshit, draw his dagger. Let me kill him. Yeah, but Stannis regains his cool. And then he goes, no. You know what, Axel? You can leave us. And Axel is like, what? But your grace, surely, treason. Leave us. Turn around, open the door, and make like a branch. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, and send in Melisandre. Which really kind of feels like when someone has just nailed a job interview, you know? And they're sending in the HR person in charge of printing the contract, you know, having the candidate sign it. And you know what? In a way, that's exactly what just happened to Davos. So Axel leaves, you know, cartoonishly mumbling to himself, "Bloody onion knight, go fetch Melisandre. What am I, a page boy, some kind of secretary?" But he leaves. He goes, leaves the stage. This does, it does feel a bit like theatrical on a stage. Just four characters. It could be a play. Could be an act in a play. So, and he shuts the door behind him, so Stannis and Davos can have a nice chat while they're alone. Amicable stuff, you know, along the lines of, you, Onion Knight, you always seem to take it for granted that I'll tolerate your insolence, no matter what you say, huh, Davos? It never occurred to you that I might have your tongue taken out if you really piss me off? So that's Stannis, yeah? But Davos is ready with an answer. I am your man, your grace. So it is your tongue. My tongue is really your tongue to do with as you please. All right, big boy, settle down. No, okay, right. Yeah, I was being childish there, but no, but really, you see, Davos is really the personification of speaking truth to power, isn't it? And you know what? Stannis can't get enough of it. The truth, I mean. He's added with lick spittles, yes man. So he encourages Davos to double down on it, as bitter as the truth might be. In fact, he goes, look, mate, do you think it was easy choosing between Aerys, my king, and my brother Robert? Loyal to your family. I mean, it's not the kind of choice that comes easy to a guy like me. And that Iron Throne, let's face it, is the ugliest thing in miles. Have you seen it? Here, let me read you the quote. The barbs along the back, the ribbon of twisted steel, the jagged ends of swords and knives all tangled up and melted. It is not a comfortable seat. Sir Aerys cut himself so often meant to to calling him King's Cab. And Mago the Cruel was murdered in that chair, or by that chair, to hear some tell it. It is not a seat where a man can rest at ease. Oftentimes I wonder why my brothers wanted it so desperately. So why do you want it then? Davos just has to ask. But the answer is pretty much what you would expect. Duty, honor, it's the law, it's my birthright, whether I want it or not. And then I'm supposed to pass it on to my heirs as my legacy, which for the time being, it's my daughter. You know Stannis, yeah? What sort of answer did you expect, dear listener? But then Stannis is on a roll. I'll tell you what, mate, he continues. As soon as I'm in charge, I'm going to clean up that town, starting from Cersei, who cheated on my brother and maybe even had him murdered, along with a bunch of other people she had murdered. You name it. Ned Stark, even Jon Arryn, I bet. Oh, and Jaime, yeah, gonna deal with him too, yeah? Mm-hmm. Not to mention Varys, he's the worst. All corruption at King's Landing starts from him, from that guy. And too bad that people actually listen to him. I'm going to do all the things, Robert should have done. Which, it's good to have a plan, Stannis. Stan, the man with a plan. But first you got to get there, as I'm sure I don't need to tell you. But what Stannis really wants to know is why Davos was intent on whacking Melly. Which means that he was perfectly aware that Davos was languishing in a cell down there somewhere. And my 2 cents on this is that all it took was for Axel Florent to make an arse of himself with this so-called war plan, or war crime plan more like, to prompt Stannis to go, all right, bring out the gimp. I mean, bring the Onion Knight out of his cell for some proper counsel for a change, And at the question, why did he want to kill Melisandre? Davos is a plain-speaking dude, but on this one, he's a bit fuzzy, because Stannis even does tell him, look, Davos, right now you sound like an idiot, man. But don't let me get ahead of myself. Okay, so first Davos goes, okay, four of my sons burned on the Blackwater. She gave them to the flames. Nope, she wasn't even there. And how many times must be repeated that wildfire isn't Melisandre's thing? Okay, I'm no fan of Melisandre's, but if you want to construct an argument, start with some sound premises, yeah? So if you must take it up on someone, take it up on me, man. That's Stannis speaking. I mean, I'm the one who ordered the attack. Melly is my loyal servant. Oh yeah? Like Maester Cresson? He was your loyal servant? Nah, Davos. You see, you're letting your emotions blind you. You should have joined the debate team at school. You would have learned how this sort of thing is done, although, given the fact that Davos can't read. Not yet, anyway. Okay, it's safe to assume he probably didn't receive the top Westerosi education money can buy. But still, Crescent was on a kamikaze mission, you see. That famous prologue from Clash of Kings where we see Crescent for the first and last time. Davos remembers only too well what happened. He was also there. And it's where these two characters are first introduced in this series. Crescent tried to have Melisandre share a toast with him, bottoms up, with a poisoned drink. A drink he was prepared to gulp down in one, as long as Melisandre did the same. But of those two characters, Crescent died and Melisandre lived. Magic, high tolerance to poisons, strong metabolism, Melisandre metabolism, we don't know. But that, again, doesn't count as one more corpse to add to Melly's body count. Nope. What else have you got, Davos? What has she done to you personally? Well, not me, but what about your brother Renly, your grace? Not to mention Courtney Penrose. And this is where Stannis says something very interesting, because he literally goes, whoa, 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 hang on a minute. Dude. Okay, so maybe he doesn't literally say that. Okay, this dialogue is paraphrased, as I keep saying. But he does say that Melisandre had nothing to do with the strange deaths of both Renly Baratheon and Courtney Penrose, and that she was with him the whole time, and Davos' son Devon can testify on that. I mean, he sounds sincere to me, and does that mean he knows nothing of the shadow killer baby things? Magically birthed by Melisandre in the shape and likeliness of Stannis, and sent out to kill these two dudes, Renly first and then Courtney Penrose? I mean, Davos himself witnessed one of these two births himself with his very eyes, and Stannis doesn't seem to know anything about it. In fact, Stannis even twists an interesting fact here. He goes, look, it was actually Melly who urged me to meet and parley with Renly, so we could maybe come to an agreement. Now, he doesn't twist the fact. I think he misses an important point. Because my theory is that Melisandre, I don't think it's only my theory. I doubt if I'm the first person to realize that Melisandre actually needed to be close to Renly, to take a close look at Renly, or to be at least close to him, to size him up. Sorry, kind of like, I don't know, to work her magic, whatever, direct her shadow baby on its target, What do you think? Because, I mean, Melisandre was, at both negotiations, the one with Renly and the one with Courtney Penrose. So that could be it. Anyway, so this is where Stannis goes off on a tangent and randomly explains that the boy is sick, out of the blue, and that Melisandre is treating him with leeches. Oh, that was a bit out of the left field. What? This Davos goes, what boy? Wait, not my son, Devon, is it? Davos is a bit panicky at this point. No. Yeah, Devon is fine. But since we were talking about Sir Courtney Penrose, the boy, Robert's illegitimate son, used to be a guest at Storm's End, under Penrose's protection, and Penrose being all like, you want to take the boy over my dead body, ha ha, which, is kind of what we did. Yeah, so that boy, Edric Storm, he came down with a flu or something, which really, I believe you, Davos, have something to do with it, because when you first arrived here at Dragonstone, you approached the boy, and what with you being sick as a dog, so yeah, there's that. And actually, Stannis, I did say Edric Storm, but Stannis actually keeps saying the boy. He doesn't use the boy's name, Edric Storm, almost as if he wanted to dehumanize him, Much like Axel calling his own brother traitor, the same way you don't give a turkey a name if you're about to have it for dinner. So that's all I'm saying. That previous Davos POV chapter was also where we found out that Edric is super fond of his late dad, Robert, thinking he was like the coolest dad in the world. I mean, we knew that already, but we also knew that the reason was that Robert never seemed to forget Edric's birthdays. Oh, he would send gifts every year. But now, in this chapter, actually, we find out that it was Varys that took care of that yearly chore. Robert always too busy, getting drunk, hunting, womanizing, and whatnot. Anyway, Stannis reassures Davos, Maester Pylus will soon set him right. By himself, the boy is naught. You understand? But in his veins flows my brother's blood. There is power in a king's blood, or so she says. That she being Melisandre. What sort of devilry is this, huh? But Stannis is on a roll. He goes on a little bit more on things he wants to do when he seizes the throne, people he'll execute, stuff he'll have built, You think he's got a whole scrapbook for these plans. And then out of the blue, he just goes, On your knees, on your knight. Whoa, at which point Davos must be thinking, whoa, when I said my tongue is yours to do as you please, well, did you get all excited thinking about your future plans? No. Kidding. That's just me being childish again. But yeah, no, once Davos gets on his knees, Stannis draws his sword, which does actually shine, true to its name, Lightbringer, although this is when, and not for the last time, we find out that the sword, while all shiny and stuff, is as if it was ablaze, it actually produces no heat. So Davos can feel, as Davos can feel, when Stannis places that said sword on Davos's shoulder. To name him, drumroll, Hand of the King. Yeah. So Davos becomes the only other hand to the king in the continent. Because the other two kings don't have a hand, you know. Renly did have a king's guard, you know, the Rainbow Guard, but not a hand. Do you think that these two Baratheon brothers like tossed a coin to decide who would get to have a king's guard and who would have a hand to the king? What do you think? Anyway, yeah, what a plot twist, huh? Davos protests like a zillion times. He's got a lot of objections, like he's lowborn. He can't read or write too good, and surely there must be someone better qualified, with better references, whatever. But Stannis has an answer for all of those objections, so it's a done thing. And besides, what's a big deal if Davos can't write? Look at Sir Alistair. He could write well enough, and look where that got him. Nah, Stannis insists, because Stannis is a guy who wants a hand of the king that's not afraid to speak truth to power, or simple common sense, really. So he goes, you, Davos, are the kind of guy I want next to me in battle, you know? So, yeah, battles. You know what, about that, huh? And indeed, speaking of Sir Alistair, say what you want about him, but he did at least have a point about one thing. We don't have the strength for another battle. Next battle we engage in will be our last. So really, at this point, I feel I must take back something I said in the previous Davos POV chapter. I seem to have blurted out that in the Dragonstone police state, you know, expressing doubts about the war effort or the leadership is a punishable offense, we presume. But no, at least this policy doesn't apply to Davos, as you can see. It's not entirely true, you know. No. Stannis doesn't fall for flattery, and it's at this point that Melisandre interjects. Aha, yeah, that's right. She's been at the door behind Davos, listening the whole time. Sneaky little lady, huh? So he goes, she goes, but it's the great battle that His Grace is speaking of. That's right. Holding a covered silver dish in her hands. And she goes on yakking about the other one, the great enemy, you know, the character that in her faith is supposed to be like this great adversary to R'hllor. And the great cold that's coming to wage war against humanity. I mean, there should be little doubt at this point that she's talking about the others, capital O. The clue is in the name, I mean, right? Others. And Stannis confirms, apparently, saying that Melly has shown the whole thing to him in the flames. She got him a front row seat to the shape of things to come. You got to say that in an ominous tone. Yeah, he goes, I did feel a bit dumb, you know, staring at a fire in the hearth like an idiot. But then I saw it. Yeah, here, it's a long quote, but I'd like to read it to you. The ashes were white, rising in the updraft, yet all at once it seemed as if they were falling. Snow, I thought. Then the sparks in the air seemed to circle, to become a ring of torches, and I was looking through the fire down on some high hill in a forest. The cinders had become men in black, behind the torches, and there were shapes moving through the snow. For all the heat of the fire, I felt a cold so terrible I shivered. And when I did, the sight was gone. The fire once again. But what I saw was real. I'd stake my kingdom on it. Yeah. Wait a minute, right? You're thinking, ring of fire, torches, men in black, snow. I mean, this is what Sam Tarly went through at the Feast of the First Men, when the Night's Watch was attacked by none other than the others. None other than the others. As told in a flashback in Samuel 1, this same book. Feel free to, reacquaint yourself with that commentary I did for that chapter in this same channel, dear listener. But yeah, what else could it be? So yes, with regard to that great battle, the Red Lady has no doubts. It's on, baby. And the whole continent should be united against the big baddies, not waste time on their quarrels and skirmishes. And actually, I can't say I disagree with her on this point. Also, apparently, Stan is the man for the job because he's righteous. Rahollor chose him, etc., etc. And Stannis becomes all humble immediately. He goes, "Oh, who, me? Oh, I couldn't possibly. You're too kind. Oh, well, if you insist." Okay, now I'm slightly exaggerating there, but really what he does say, well, how about that? Good old me, some choice, huh? I mean, the least popular in the Baratheon trio, and yet the only one who's pursued a solo career. What's that about? Huh? Some choice. Life is weird, huh? I mean, why wasn't my brother Robert chosen? Everyone loved him. I keep seeing him in my dreams, boasting, laughing, drinking, his usual self, Or indeed Renly, huh? I keep dreaming of him too, And that peach he offered me. Man, I thought he was reaching for a dagger at that parley, and the next thing I know, he pulls out a peach. Everybody in the room keeps nodding because they were all there, weren't they? So they know the story. But I found all this monologue moving, the sort of lump in my throat kind of moment, because Stannis here reveals how he actually misses his brothers. And that stubborn Renly, the only one who could wind me up with a peach, he says. If only he'd been a law-abiding citizen, following the correct rules of succession. We could have handed the Lannister armed forces their own asses back to them. You know what I mean? Everybody keeps nodding still, because, yeah, really, how can one disagree? But now it's time to move on to that mysterious silver dish, covered by an equally mysterious sort of a bell lid thing they have in those fancy restaurants, as if Melisandre was some kind of a maître d', in a fancy restaurant uncovering his gourmet dish. Voila! And in a fantastic anticlimax, yes, it's the leeches. It's the 3 fat leeches they have been using to treat Edric Storm, in whose veins, lest we forget, runs the blood of a king, like that famous song by Manowar. And Stannis still has his reservations, So does Melisandre, because she's all like, "Look, I told you this leech business is a bit unorthodox, yeah? Even for me. Yeah? All right, Melly, but does it work? Is what I want to know. See, even that, it's not an exact science, okay? See, at first we don't really know what they're on about. Is it still the therapy they're putting Edric through, the boy? But no. Because the next thing Melisandre says is, look, these leeches are just a poor surrogate. The boy, the boy is the genuine article. If you could get me to do my thing on him, if you allow me to do my thing on him, after all, what do you care about him? No? He was actually conceived in the very bed where you were supposed to have your wedding night with Queen Salisa. I mean, seriously. With all the rooms available in that bloody castle, Robert couldn't find another place to do the wild thing with that slut Delena Florent. Incidentally, the defiling of your wedding night bed being the reason you can't seem to conceive male heirs. Or so the superstition goes. Anyway, bygones, bygones. No. Okay. Can I have the boy? Yeah? Can I have the boy? We could wake the stone dragon. Again, with that stone dragon business, does she mean the stone gargoyles all over Dragonstone Castle? Are we eventually going to see them come to life, like in the original Ghostbuster movie? But Stannis still have one have none of that. The boy's innocent. He's become my daughter's only friend, which is kind of nice. It's kind of like a nice change from that creepy patch face, if you ask me. So let's get on with this leech business, all right? Come on, Melly, do the leech thing. And the leech thing is what she does, as is what they do. Because it's Stannis who's supposed to do that. And it's a kind of a voodoo thing whereby these leeches who have been sucking a certain amount of king's blood, would that work on mosquitoes, do you think? Yeah. Anyway, so they're handed to Stannis, all three leeches, one by one, and he utters the name of a rival king, baptizing the leeches, as it were, and then proceeds to toss them into the fire one by one. The usurpers, as he calls them, Joffrey Baratheon, Balon Greyjoy, and Robb Stark. And according to leech magic, there's a whole manual on leech magic, apparently. These three guys are now marked for death. And it's interesting that the only usurper, so-called usurper, well, according to him, and apparently according to the laws of Westeros, the only usurper Stannis seems to have no hesitation about is Balon. Because Balon Greyjoy really had it coming. Stannis defeated him once before, by smashing his brother Victarion's iron fleet. But with Joffrey, he hesitates. He hesitates by whispering his name. I don't know, maybe because he's a boy, a psychopath, but nevertheless still a boy. And before uttering Robb's name, he hesitates too. Could be for the same reason, because Robb is only 1 or 2 years older than Joff, or possibly because he recognizes more honor in Robb, or because Robb sort of fell into that, king in the north situation of his, He didn't really ask for it. All he wanted was a revenge for his dad. So but anyway, Stannis rolls the last leech in his fingers for a bit, but then he tosses the Robb leech in the fire like the other two, and I bet that's the sound they made. And thus, my dear listener, ends chapter, the 36 of A Storm of Swords, Davos 4. And wow, if you've made it this far, what can I say? Thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention and interest. And if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to do the things. And as for me, I look forward to talking to you again in our next chapter. Jamie something or other. I think it's Jamie 5. Right. Yeah, time to get into the bathtub. All right, speak to you soon. Bye.